This episode may contain graphic language and descriptions, nicotine use, and may not be suitable for younger audiences. Opinions expressed in this episode are of the minds and experiences of the participants and do not represent those of any other people, organizations, groups, or recovery-based fellowships that may be mentioned. We speak only for ourselves.
God bless you. We love you, and we hope you hear something that helps you. Thanks for listening.
And no training and getting that function. Right. I mean, there's some players
Golf instructional videos.
But a lot of them are still working pretty.
I'm making a run this year, dude.
Adorable. I feel like this is what a parent feels like when they're like watching their kid like do something with something that they're really passionate about.
I'm going on a run, man.
What are you doing, sweetie? I'm watching golf videos. I'm working on my swing. What up, dog?
Not a man.
We fucking back. We back with it.
Couple week hiatus.
Yeah, dude. I took a while to even upload the last one. But we haven't done this since before the Super Bowl, which we both have established.
So let's talk about how you were right. Go ahead. Brag a little bit.
There are people that were more right than me.
That's true.
But I was also right.
And how? Go ahead, elaborate on that.
Well, I was calling for a 2-possession win. And didn't really think there was a chance of it not happening. I knew what like the threats were to that happening and to us losing, but I just always thought, I don't know, man.
I heard no talk of threats, and I respected it.
Well, no, I know, like, because Spags figures out everybody, and Andy Reid, who's normally a pretty adaptive coach, especially when it comes to play calling, just didn't show up.
Not
do
at
a
all,
goddamn
dude.
thing.
Not at all.
Like anybody who thought they were going to see a different game, like after halftime, had to wait until the Eagles put their second string players in a fucking Super Bowl
In garbage time. Yo, so coming out of halftime, knowing what Brady and them did to the Falcons some years ago, I don't know what year it was.
They were down the same, weren't they? 34?
I think it was.
It was in the 30s.
It was 24-0, I thought.
Oh, was it?
Well,
I thought it was 34.
when we were going into the half, I could be wrong. I was seeing stats pop up on the screen. 1 point away from the biggest deficit of Super Bowl history at halftime. And I thought that we were up 24-0. Or was it 27-0?
No, I think it was 24-0 at the half. I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so were you nervous when they were coming out of the half getting the ball? Because I was very nervous. I was yeah.
I don't know how I'm trying to word this. I wasn't nervous enough to say that I was like more nervous than confident, if that makes sense. Like a little bit of it was there because I know like halftime and like a big like time to go back into that locker room, the Chiefs especially, like they're down by 2 possessions all the fucking time. Throughout this season, they've been down by 2 possessions plenty of times.
Yep.
And that's also why I thought that they just weren't going to be able to do it. But I wasn't really too nervous. Like when it was actually happening, that's when I started to feel what I talked about Philly fans feeling on the last episode, which is like I'm feeling optimistic. I'm like I could be 100% convinced if I didn't have this other thing in the back of my mind, which is just like, don't marry yourself to this thing that might not happen because it's happened before that you got let down. I felt that during the game.
Yeah. So I was definitely nervous. A couple times throughout the game. Now I did wait till the second half to do this, right? But a couple times during the game, from about the second possession of the third quarter on, I just looked over at Lauren and I was just like, is it okay to say this game's over?
I did a similar thing.
Now, she is a huge Eagles and Sixers fan. She watches...
R.I.P. the Sixers.
She watches dozens of Eagles videos a week on Instagram. She knows every stat.
Oh, she's a sicko.
So when I would look over at her, and she's superstitious, so when I would look over at her to kind of just say that, she'd be like, shut up. Don't do it. Don't do it. Right? But, dude, like, they come out of the second half... Quick cross route reception to Hollywood Brown. First play, I'm like, okay, here it comes. And then the sacks start coming, dude. And when we beat them as bad as we did that first drive, I knew it was over.
The most perfect thing that can happen in like, as far as like a defensive series goes, right? Is like a sack, and then an interception. It's just like, that's like, come on, dude.
You're gonna steal their soul.
Come
on.
like
If that happens to you, you are not gonna shift momentum.
Yeah,
no way.
It was fucking crazy.
But yeah, just I agree, dude. Like seeing how Andy Reid just could not respond. Like I still can't believe it, honestly.
So like, the one thing that I didn't really want to say like out loud before, because a lot of their receivers were hurt a lot of the year. Like they were working with like our receivers. When our receivers were out, we lost. We flat out lost. Right when AJ and Devontae weren't there. So and they were figuring out how to win. I just thought like defensively they just couldn't hold a candle to us at all.
Yep.
But I was nervous about saying this before with all their injuries. But like their season, like, wins are fine. Their season sucked. They had a bad season.
Yep.
And like postseason, like, sure, like a lot of their pieces came back and like they turned it up or whatever. But like garbage time against Denver, garbage time against the Panthers, going down 10-0 to the Raiders, like.
And only winning that game because they missed
they blocked a field goal.
Blocked
yeah,
a 42-yard
like,
kick.
which was crazy, which was fucking nuts. But like a play that has like a 3% chance of happening is why you won the game. Like it's
they had no dominance this year, you know. And I will say, like their first couple games. See, I know I've told you this. Like I gauge football from a fantasy football standpoint always. With how hot Rashee Rice was in the beginning of the year, I was like pretty nervous. Like Rashee Rice was on fire, looking great. Kelsey was like non-existent. Like people who jump draft picks to get Kelsey, because you always got someone in the draft that drafts tight ends early. Were probably so bummed because he just came out and wasn't really doing anything, you know. But as soon as Rashee Rice went down, man, like you're right, their core was gutted.
I think Kelsey's done. I don't think he's going to come back.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Now, like with us, they did have Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, but I see what you're saying.
It's just like there's not a name in the league right now, wide receiver wise, that can make me nervous. Because our secondary has gone up against all of them in the league, right? Outside of, I don't think, did we play the Vikings? Did we play the Vikings?
Did not play the Vikings.
So like, we haven't gone up against like JJ, right? And even Addison is really good. Like I like Addison a lot, but like Jamar Chase, we played the Bengals,
there,
right?
Dude, that right there
like
says so much.
Yeah. Jamar Chase,
like, dude,
Terry McLaurin,
his stats
like
are godly stats in wide receivers, dude. Like this coming year in fantasy football, I have never been a Jamar Chase owner. I'm absolutely going after him if I can.
Yeah,
like just the amount of big plays he makes and how many targets he gets is absurd.
Unless Quinyon Mitchell's on him, and then he doesn't get anything. That's the thing.
This is true.
That's my thing, though, dude. Is like you can say receiver, but it just hasn't mattered. And that's not a feeling. That's fucking evidence, dude.
That's reality.
Like Terry McLaurin, both times Quignon lined up against him. Nothing.
Did you see the article where the offensive coordinator or somebody on the Chiefs basically said that they didn't want to mess with our secondary? Like their game plan, they really weren't going down the field. They were doing like short passes, and their run game.
No, they were just trying to carve their way up the field.
But look this up. Like, I'm pretty sure that I don't think that it was. I don't know who it was. Somebody on their offensive.
We need a Jamie here. You know Jamie from JRE?
No.
When Joe Rogan just looks over here. He's like, Jamie, pull that up. Yeah, we need a Jamie.
But one of their coaches said that they really didn't want to have a game plan where they were going after our secondary.
Well, I mean, like you can't. But like, so then you're resorted to what? Running the ball, which like what? Where did them trying to run the ball go? The Chiefs. What was that?
Yeah.
They had like 5 run attempts in the first half.
Dude, they just would not go to it.
And it's not like it would have worked. I mean, honestly, I don't think it would have worked. I mean, maybe I don't like the Chiefs running backs.
But also cheers to Vic Fangio and our linebackers for that, because I don't know if you remember the middle of our season, dude. Our run game was a little weak for chunks of those middle games. Like there was a time in the middle of our season where I was like, dude, people are getting like big chunk yards.
They were playing like keep the ball in front of them. And like not too much risk taking on defense.
I don't know if like somebody came back from injury or what happened, but like the last couple weeks of the season, dude, our run D was top notch. Like people are getting nothing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Last couple of weeks is definitely when like injuries started to creep in, and then our backups would just do the same thing that our starters were doing, which is another thing. And like, I haven't really heard a lot of talk about it, but outside of like the first 4 weeks, we didn't really fight injuries that much. Certainly not as much as other teams did. I mean, how long? Like Aiden Hutchinson didn't get to play after week 4. Like
it was early, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was.
Like it's we got very lucky in that respect. But like even if they don't take the cheap shots down the field and try to challenge our secondary, what are you gonna do? You're gonna challenge like Oren Burks, who just happened to just come out and be like a crazy ass linebacker. I never even fucking knew that he was born. Like,
me neither.
And
until he started coming on the outside, sacking motherfuckers. That's when I knew he was born.
You gonna throw it in Zach Bond's direction?
No.
Like what are you gonna do though? What are you gonna do?
You can target Blankenship in the middle of the field, but that's your only option. Like that's what the Commanders did. How many yards did Zach Ertz have that game? But they were letting that happen because they didn't care.
Well, yeah, because like it's all they had was a tight end. That's fine.
Like I think Ertz might have had like 130 yards that game.
I think that was his best game. I could be tripping, but I really think it was.
And Fletcher Cox gave him a hug after the loss.
Oh well, yeah, dude. I mean, he was here for so long, and you leave, and I mean, he got one with us, right?
Yep. But yeah, dude, I'm one of the best sports memories of my lifetime, hands down.
For sure.
I'm not gonna say it will be the best. I don't want to think that way.
No, I'm waiting for the Flyers to.
I'm waiting for. I hear a lot of people saying just re-sign everybody and win again.
That can't happen.
But exactly.
Yeah.
But like,
can't.
but dude, like, I just think that
Well,
it was.
They can't re-sign everybody. I think we repeat.
You do?
Yeah. I do.
I'm just curious, like, I'm curious what kind of adjustments will be made and how we'll look next year. So, like, I've been thinking about this, right? I do think that Vic Fangio's defensive system and the young pieces we have in place can hold up great. Jalen Carter's young. Like, dude, our defense is sickening. But, like, here's a couple questions. Like, can Saquon Barkley have anything close to the year he had this year next year? Dude, he had a freakish year as a running back.
He had the best year as a quarterback ever.
As a running back,
including the postseason.
Yeah, like so. I think we probably need to temper our expectations with what he can do next year. Not that he's not going to be great, but like, dude, the number of like 70. I saw a stat pop up during the Super Bowl. He had 8 reception touchdowns of more than 70 rush yards.
Yeah, I saw that.
The rest of the league combined
10.
had like 10.
Yeah, it was 10. It's so
like-
fucking crazy, dude.
Like, so we're gonna have to take
Yeah.
we're gonna have to take our expectations way down on that.
So I'll tell you why I think we're going to repeat. And it's because of, I'm trying to get like my facts right on this. I might not be able to provide numbers. Saquon Barkley. So the way Jalen's contract is set up is very, it's loaded on the later half of the contract. So like, his AAV won't like kick up, I think, until after next year, maybe, is when his number really goes up. Saquon Barkley, I don't have the numbers, but restructured his contract. So to add another year, but then bring down the AAV so they can afford to sign more players.
Did we sign him for 3 last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, I had heard that Devontae Smith was talking about doing the same thing with his contract, restructuring it for less money annually, but just staying for longer. And like, if you get, I mean, Saquon restructuring his contract alone probably would free up like, probably what, like, he's getting what, like 12 a year now? Probably free up, what would you need? You just take 4 away, maybe
I guess so.
something like that.
See, dude, what I love about the Saquon situation is like Saquon had such a statement year as an active member of a little committee in the NFL that was arguing for why is it that the value of running backs is going down. So, like, I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, man, the value of running backs was going way down.
Yeah, I remember this.
Get a little of that natural light.
We can't get in the dark.
But yeah, it was glorious, dude.
Oh, but now we got football going on. The Union's first game was last night in Orlando.
How'd they do?
We won 4-2.
Nice.
I got to get you to a game this year. Have you ever been?
I've been to one, and it was very fun. And the stadium is awesome, and I really enjoyed it. And last year, I went to one other football game that I got tickets through for work. It was like some international league. I think it was.
Was it at the Link?
It was at the Link.
Oh yeah. It was during the summer.
I sat in the box. It was the dude with the most popular player. Whatever team he plays for against somebody. And it was extremely cold. And
Oh, it was cold.
yeah, so like what they did to increase visibility in the box is they cracked the screens, and it was definitely cold, but it was cool, man.
But it was at the Link?
Is that dude's name Messi? It was
Yeah.
at the Link, yes. I think it was at the Link.
What time of the year was
It
it?
might not have been. It was like early winter. Late fall, early winter. And it is like an international league that they do all over the US. It was
So a lot of times the Champions League from England will come over, which is the most popular like professional league.
Mhm.
I guess you could argue like between that and like La Liga, which is in Spain, and like Serie A, which is in Italy. But I thought that was primarily in the summer.
Yeah, this was definitely like late fall, early winter.
You remember the teams?
I don't remember the teams, but I remember it was like an absolute slaughter.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry. Yeah, they don't usually bring very like competitive matchups for those games.
And I remember it was really nice to sit in the company box. And I remember that I took the tickets because I'm trying to get in tight with the ticket lady. because she had asked me the day before if I wanted tickets for something else, and I said no. So I felt like I needed to like show her that I want tickets, so she comes to me for tickets.
Right. You can't keep saying no,
Yeah,
because
like
then she's not going to ask you.
Like if it's like if she does her in-person rounds outside of email,
Right.
and she's struggling to get those tickets out of her hand, I want me to be one of those stops.
Yeah. I don't blame you, dude. I've never had one of those people in anywhere that I've worked.
And I remember
My parents always have.
being in the box, and like I was too nervous to talk to any of my coworkers.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
Yeah.
That's just more spiritual growth on my end.
So like our team has moved on from a lot of players that were here for a long time. Our coach that was here for 10 years is no longer here. I used to see him at so he lived in, maybe still lives, but lived in Queens Village when I lived there.
Wow.
And we would end up at the same dog park, and we would just shoot the shit, you know what I mean? Just like being neighborly, I'm not trying to ask him for like, I don't know, like asking him to sign my arm or something like that.
Was it the dog park right at the cross of Queen Street, right by Shot Tower?
I don't know what Shot Tower is.
Okay, probably not then.
So like where my house was at 2nd and Christian, it was a block past that.
Gotcha.
I don't know why I can't think of the street name beyond that. But yeah, that's where it was. It wasn't Catherine. I don't remember what it was. Whatever.
Dude, it was awesome living in that part of the city for a year. One of the best and worst years of my life.
Yeah. so like we got to walk around like Old City yesterday because the bus was leaving. The little T bus that we went on was leaving from in front of the Inquirer building at like 6th and Market or whatever that is. Like by the Liberty Bell, Old City Hall, all that shit. And we were just walking around there, and I'm now like at the point where I actually like really miss the city. Walking through that area, I really miss the city. And yeah, but I know if I move back there within 6 months, I'll want to shoot myself.
I like being able to go and leave, but there is a culture there that you can't mimic anywhere else.
No, it's I don't even know what it is, man.
Yeah.
It's very intangible. It's something that you like. I believe I can put a lot of things into words, but like when I'm walking around like Old City and like not a care in the fucking world, and I'm like it's nice weather out and I'm just chilling, go over to like a cafe and just find some coffee and a pastry or some shit. You know what I mean?
It's just awesome for you, man. I'm a little bit jealous that like you got to experience the city as like a sober man, because you know, being a suburbs boy, like I've only ever been two things in the city, and that is a skateboarder and a drug addict. And the skateboarder was a really long time ago. But like I've never really gotten to like experience the vibe of the city sober and like in good standing, like healthy. It's always been like, oh shit, I used to go to Love Park and Temple and all that, and then years later, like I'm gonna go cop.
Yeah.
Like I've never really like, you know, develop some new memories of that.
Yeah.
And you got to live there and like kind of see that whole like sober, healthy life.
Yeah. Sober, yeah. Healthy, debatable for some parts, but yeah. It was nice. What else is new?
Nothing, man. Just
Nothing.
working on the new basement. Putting together a bar cabinet.
You and this fucking bar cabinet.
Got to get a countertop and install it. Get it cut and then install it. Dude, works great. Golf is back.
Golf is back.
Shot 84 today. That was nice. I'm gonna put a lot into golf this year, dude. My goal is to shoot 5 to 7 rounds in the 70s. I decided today.
Oh shit.
And now that I said it out loud, I have to work toward it because that's how it works. It's not just gonna happen.
We talking tour or what?
No, they'd laugh at me on the tour.
70 sounds good. 70 sounds good.
70s is good, but it's not good enough. It's not even in the
Says
same.
who?
Says the people who make money playing golf.
That's fair enough.
It's not even in the same orbit as good enough.
Well, then, until you're good enough, dude, suck to me.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, I'll get out there with you. Maybe, probably not. What else we got? Nothing really. The Flyers also won yesterday, 6-3.
Nice. How they
6-3.
stacking record wise?
No,
No.
nah.
That's how I feel about the Sixers.
Under hockey 500 right now.
Sixers are 20-35.
Yeah, we're not that bad. We're not that bad. Wow, I just forgot English for a second. In the NBA, do you guys, is a point split in overtime? Like if you get an overtime loss, do you still get a point for making it to overtime?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, then the Flyers would almost be there. But in hockey, you get a point for going into overtime. Soccer's
Gotcha.
the same thing. Yeah, fuck the Sixers, dude. I truly believe it's just Josh Harris. I think he's sabotaging the city because we beat his ass in the NFC Championship game.
I knew you were gonna take it there, and I love it.
Yep.
I know like a couple people that are so bitter toward him for being the owner of the Commanders and are just like, fuck you.
Yeah. And he also owns the Devils. So like fight me.
Double
please.
fuck you.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like I'm outside, bro.
So you're a true fan, dude, a true Philly patriot. Like you're the kind of guy that'll say, because of those two things, I will accept one of my own teams losing. That's
And-
true fandom right there.
Yeah. But also, if our team was doing anywhere near as good as the other two teams are, because the Devils are like some people's Stanley Cup picks, and the Commanders just surprised everybody and made it all the way to a championship game. But our team is what? Is where?
I think 20-35.
So like,
And we get to
if our
wait.
team was doing better, I'd probably feel a little bit better about it, even though I think basketball's a joke, especially nowadays. But
Yeah, I know a lot of people who hate basketball, man.
I know a lot of basketball fans in my old job were just like, I'm not even watching this season.
It's so weird how like sports culture shifts, dude. Because when I was growing up, like everybody liked basketball.
I prefer the old Sixers colors while we're on old basketball.
And now I know all these people that are just like, yeah, fuck basketball. And I'm like, well, what did you play growing up? And they're like, soccer. And I'm like, soccer didn't even exist when I was growing up, dude. I didn't, I still don't know the
I played
rules.
soccer. Yeah. Soccer's the best, dude. It's so fun.
Poor NBA.
A lot of them are pussies,
Whatever they
but
did
it's
to all
fun.
these people, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's funny. A lot of people describe it that same way, though, dude. Like, it's a joke.
I feel like I've personally felt like basketball, out of all of the professional sports that you can play, is the easiest.
So, football, way up there in difficulty. Hockey. See, I kind of, this might sound weird. I sort of put hockey in a category like baseball.
Okay.
Where just because you're a high prospect does not mean you will pan out.
Correct.
Yeah, basketball, dude, I'll give it to you. If you get drafted high, you're going to play. And you're going to play a lot. So I sort of do, like, I think personally I have the most respect for baseball players.
Baseball, you get protected in the minors for like 3 years before you even, like, maybe even play 4 games in a season.
Yep.
I've been hearing about Andrew Painter since I was like 5. Like, let the kid fucking play.
Dude, they put them through hell in a handbasket.
It's so annoying, dude.
I honestly don't know how they do it, man. Like, I don't know how like their dream stays alive long enough to believe that they're gonna get a shot.
I don't know, dude. My man's gonna need Tommy John surgery before he even makes the fucking team. Which nowadays people have that. People have that like preemptively now, because when you have Tommy John surgery, you come back better than you were before you had it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Tommy John elbow?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
like funny bone area.
I want to say MCL,
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I think on average, I could totally be out of the park. Haha, right? Funny. with this one, but I'm pretty sure on average it will add like 2 to 4 miles per hour on your velocity when you heal from it.
So what you're saying is I could throw like 56 miles an hour instead of 54.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a good fastball? You ever test like how hard you could throw?
Dude, my accuracy was such shit when I was a kid. I wanted to be a pitcher so bad, but I just couldn't. I wasn't good enough.
I was a pitcher in Little League, but
yeah, that's where I wanted to
dude,
pitch.
like I my first job when I was 16 was at Triple Crown Academy. And
That sounds official.
Yeah, they had a machine there.
Nice.
And when no one was there, dude, like I would try everything. I would just throw, and then I would like sprint across the floor of the place, take a big crow hop and throw. I couldn't even break 60 miles an hour, dude. It was fucking pathetic. I don't understand. Like I talked to a good amount of people that were like, "Yeah, I was like 80," and I'm like, "How?"
I don't know, dude. That's a lot of it is like technique though. A lot of it isn't even throwing hard. It's like learning how to torque your elbow a lot. And that's why there's so much elbow work that needs to be done, because like a lot of it is like just learning how to torque properly
with the right timing.
Yeah, it's fucking
And using
it's weird.
the ground, just like
I couldn't
golf.
do it.
So
I was a
tired of that.
shortstop only because I was fast. I couldn't bat for fucking shit, dude.
I struck out a lot.
Yeah, I was just so bad.
And
But like
every time I would hit the ball, like my dad worked on this with me so much. I would make contact. I couldn't not pull the ball.
oh yeah.
Like everything went to the third baseman
Yeah.
or over his head. I think I had like one hit in all of my years of baseball that went to center or the opposite field.
Damn dog.
I was just my trigger was just too quick, dude.
I swung and prayed. I swung and prayed, dude. If it wasn't in the dirt or hitting me in the head, I was swinging at it. That's what it was.
I love it.
Yeah. But when I did hit the ball, I was really fast.
You're
I was a really fast kid.
you're like Nick Castellanos, dude. He's like, fuck walking.
Oh yeah.
I don't
dude.
come up here to walk.
You're like mid-season Castellanos.
I'll swing up here if I have to.
Yeah.
I'm walking.
Yeah, after a whole tub of grease in his hair, he just goes up there and just like whoosh.
Dude, every year
He takes his warm-ups
I bet he'll
at
do
the
it.
plate.
I bet he'll do it this year. Every year, he either starts or eventually gets to the point where we're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? He's striking out. He's hitting
And
200.
you talk about moving him at the deadline again.
Then
Yeah.
he wakes up, dude, and he's our hero for a little
Honestly,
while.
dude, I
dude.
love the guy. I love him. I really do. I mean, you can't find a guy his age that's playing. How many seasons has he played all the way through in a row?
Yeah,
The guy's insane.
dude, he's so streaky, but when he's hot, man.
Hey, man, everybody's streaky. Yeah. Goal scorers in hockey are streaky.
Yeah.
LeBron James, just put up 40, probably for the first time in like 10 years or some shit. I don't know, dude.
Well, what's real crazy with the major leagues, dude, is there was a time in baseball history where people would hit 500. Explain that to me. I really can't come up with a good reason.
Lack of pitching science, I would think.
Okay. That means 1 out of every 2 times you're getting a hit.
Yeah, I know.
That's disgusting.
I think it's like people. It's like if you think about a lot of pitches probably weren't even around then.
You think?
Like how far back are we talking?
Like Hank Aaron and Mickey Mantle and
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty
what
sure they
time
had
period that is.
500 batting average seasons.
Well, they're also like one of a kind people. Like they're
True.
just freak talents, right?
True.
So, yeah. I don't know how long we've been going, but we've just been shooting the shit.
It's been nice, dude.
Yeah, not that
I
I,
got some
like
coffee in me.
not that I hate it. Yeah, my cup's done. Like I'm all out. So, what's our show called? The Peel and Onions.
The peel and onions, dude.
The Peel and Onions.
I had a
Should we
moment where I
change it
was
to that?
very confused because you were confused.
We should put a "the" in front of the name. The Peel and Onions.
Mm-hmm.
Last time.
Now, knowing you, it would be THA. There's no way
why?
you would. Just the way you write your text, dude. Like I know there'd be a ring to it. It would not be THE. It would be THA.
I push back on that hard. Nah. That's like really hood, bro. Like like the hood rat in me could come out a little bit, but that's heavy, bro.
Well, it's up your alley, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
telling
like
you.
that's like capitalizing the first letter of every word. Hood. Like I'm not doing that. Or like leaving the O out of the word you and like using Q's as G's and like all this other shit. Like I ain't doing that.
So last time, man, we got an
Last
awesome chance to like deep dive into like what some folks call the house cleaning, them steps 4 through 7.
I called the episode meat and potatoes.
Okay.
Which is like also kind of a play on the podcast name, right? It was like meat, potatoes, onions. It's not bad. You throw it all together. You know what I mean?
Yep. So what would 8 and 9 be?
That you just gave me, man.
Well, my brain was working, dude. What would 8 and 9 be?
I don't know, man. I view 9 through 12 as like the maintenance steps and not just 10 to 12.
Well, yeah, like 8 and 9 can't be dessert. Like I'm just trying to figure out what they would.
Oh, yeah, you mean from like a metaphor standpoint?
Yeah, well, we got to keep that going now.
I don't know. You can't call it like the wine,
No.
right?
No. That would be funny though.
You can't call it like the Prosecco or whatever the fuck wine you would have. I don't know, man. Anyway, now I call them the meat and potatoes because I believe that 6 and 7 especially are where everything comes back to. And like that's where I have to live. That's where I have to learn about myself. That's where all of my changes from here on out are based. Like how I deal with other people, how I handle financial situations, excuse me, just life in general, my new marriage, everything like that. You just have me not wanting to be serious now, dude.
I know, man.
Like,
I'm feeling this.
That's where the Rangers and the Penguins are tied, if anybody cares.
So let me throw this out there to you real quick. So I agree with you, and a previous conversation that I had maybe with you is coming to mind right now. So like you say, everything comes back to 6 and 7. And like I've thought a little bit about that, and it makes sense, dude. Like, so when I did 4 and 5, there was all this shit that I was seeing on paper that I really didn't understand. Like I knew how much of a jackass I could be. I knew some key things that really pissed me off and bothered me. I could give you the general, like, you know, fear of failure, fear of relapsing, fear of confrontation, whatever that I tend to see on most lists. But I didn't really know like how any of that develops. I didn't have a great idea of what comes out of my thinking, my behavior that causes that to happen. And I think it does like kind of prove your point that 6 and 7 is kind of where we start to see like, all right, dude, you made this list. Awesome. But like, what are you actually doing that's causing all of these problems?
Yes. Yeah.
Like where are you going that's getting you here? So I agree with you, man. I think it's spot on.
Yeah, I don't like, because basically like a lot of things that you find in 6 and 7 and like the 6th step, like in order for those things to take part, you find all of those things that are wrong with you in the 4th step and 5th step, like you said. And that's the key is like, if you tell me, if I come up to you and I say, I want to be a better person, I'm getting like a lot of pushback from people in my life, experiencing like maybe some difficulties at work. I'm kind of pissed off like more often than I'd like to be. Really been like down on myself lately. And I'm starting to like take it out on other people and like be a bit of a dick and like I don't want to be. And you say, well, have you tried like not doing that? Like, yeah. Yeah. Like I've tried to just not do that before. I've tried to just not be an asshole. I've tried to just not manipulate people. I've tried to just like not let fear win. Like But like, what is that? Ollie, come here. We'll start with this shit, bud. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean? Just stop doing it. Cause like, I can only squeeze so hard in my brain. And this is how we stop doing it. Like, you have to get all the way down to what makes you tick. You have to get all the way down to like causes and conditions, because those things are not like situationally exclusive things. Like they transcend and they permeate throughout like everything.
Mm-hmm.
And like mixing and matching, of course, like based on what the situation is. But so if you can, it's easier to just look out for those things and those feelings and those aspects after you practice like recognizing them, because it does come with practice. Like I like, it was really hard for me to do it at first, but as long as I keep trying to look out for these things, eventually I get better recognizing them. But it's easier to look out for the things that cause the problems than worried about just preventing the problems from happening. Like it's way easier to do that.
Yeah, dude, it's so spot on. Like there's this line in our literature that is in the fear part. Mm-hmm. And I personally think fear and defects go so hand in hand, right? But there's this line that says like it's set in motion trains of circumstances, you know, and I think if you translate that to what you're saying, it's like, how does this all start? Like, mm-hmm. Okay, I know that I can be an asshole. Mm-hmm. I know what my brand of asshole looks like.
Right.
But I don't think I just like decide to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Maybe, but I don't think so.
No.
So like, what are we doing that is like getting that ball rolling? Mm-hmm. And in my experience, for me predominantly, but everybody else I've worked with, that is what almost nobody sees mm-hmm. until they start actually like putting the work into starting to look out for it. Mm-hmm. Right. Like what's a great place that we can be assholes, like our relationships. A lot of times family, really quite honestly, the people that we know will forgive us. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you. I'm much less of an asshole out there in the world than to the people who love me the most.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they won't leave me, right?
Yeah.
They'll handle my abuse. So it's kind of true. It's sick, but it's kind of true,
hey,
right?
They're most of the times when I was robbing people, it was a lot of the times was just taking money from my family.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
But yeah, like, dude, for me, you know, like just a little example I could give is like, first I'm not present. And then, you know, saying things that I know could be taken like as insensitive mm-hmm. or, you know, kind of expecting things from people. These are like tiny little stabs, mm-hmm. but they build up to that place where now I'm being an asshole.
Right.
You know, and like the beauty of it is that it's like you said, like if you rewind the tape back, which is what 6 and 7 kind of starts with and starts to build, mm-hmm. and 10 and 11 really builds well. Like I'm now able to see like, okay, me being an asshole typically starts there, mm-hmm. you know, and it's just amazing how like almost nobody sees it.
Yeah.
Even the people who think they're very self-aware, and they don't see it.
Yeah.
Because they're these like little nuances, man.
You can't go into a problem. You can't go into solving the problem not knowing what really causes it. Mm-hmm. You know what you want the problem to be instead, but you can't fix it if you don't know what made it happen. You got nowhere to start, bud. Like, yep. Where are you going to start with fixing it? Just like, oh, I'll try to do better. No. I mean, you might, but it won't work.
And if you do,
as far as it goes for me.
And if you do in one area of your life, you got very lucky. Like I've never heard anybody say, hey, I've really grown with my anger. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, well, what'd you do, bud? Like, I'd love to hear that. I get angry. He gets angry. Yeah, what'd you do? oh, I just tried to stop being so angry. Like, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Right? Because like that would mean that I can just turn on like a change in my will and it
Right.
would work.
Right.
You know, so it's just wild how like, yeah, we've tried the just don't do it method. That doesn't work.
No.
You know, and like I can say for my behavior, it all has a progression that it goes down until it gets to the thing that makes me or somebody else very upset. You know, like I was talking to a guy the other day about like, you know, just kind of like issues with women in recovery, right? Like a thing that a lot of people I work with have. I had pretty much every dude I work with has some version of it. This whole like female validation thing, right? And like we were talking about it, and we were kind of talking like he was telling me about where it goes. He could clearly identify where it goes. I'm texting, I'm kind of doing this type of shit, and it's not good. It goes very much the wrong way. And just, you know, use your imagination for that. Like it's pretty textbook, right? But as we were like talking about it, like he realized that one of the first things he does when he goes to meetings where there's a lot of good looking girls is he seats himself in the meeting in a place where he is very visible to the girls.
Classic.
It makes sense,
It
right?
does,
It's so like, yeah,
If that's
okay,
it being your motivation, like why wouldn't you?
right?
You're not gonna leave.
Yeah, like if I wanna like get to know or like flirt or hook up with these girls, I'm not gonna go sit in the corner, right? But it's just like an example of like, here's this one thing that seems so innocent that really is a part of something that goes much further. You know, and it just like it was funny to talk to him about it, because it's like, if that's where it starts, then the next thing is sharing a certain way, and then the next thing is kind of coming up after the meeting a certain way. Like yeah, dude, our behavior is fucking sneaky, man.
Yeah. 6 and 7, man. That's where it all goes.
That's where it all goes.
That's where the magic happens. This the steps written about the least in the big book, but way more lengthy in the 12 and 12. What separates the boys from the men in the program is what it said, because it's literally like everything before that point. I mean, like, we'll move on to like the amends stuff, but everything up to that point is some writing and some concessions, right? Now it's like, okay, go out there and act differently. And that's like, it's hard, dude. It's really hard at first. Like, I mean, excuse me. Like, I really think all of life being put through like the framework of step 3 helps prep you for like getting more serious about implementing like intricate changes in your day-to-day life. But it's hard when like those ways of coping and those ways of like reacting emotionally and like those knee-jerk reactions are popping up, and you're either going to do it, you're either going to keep doing it, or you're not going to. And it's really crazy, because odds are you're going to have that like awareness seed planted in your head without you knowing it. But you'll start to feel when like these defects start to come up, and you will actually, I'll just speak from my experience. My experience was these things started to come up, and it was easier for me to recognize them, and got way easier later on, or like along the journey at least. And then you're literally at a crossroads where you're like, am I gonna be a dickhead or not? Right? You're like, I'm standing there and I know that I can do either or in that moment. And sometimes, dude, honestly, it's a fucking coin flip as to whether or not I do the right thing. And that's just the way it is. I really, and honestly, I think that whether or not I do depends on like how how well I'm taking care of my spirit in other regards. But Jordan Peterson talks about this one thing where, like, if you have that like inner dialogue of knowing in the moment, like, you have a good choice to make and a bad choice to make, and you know that the choices are good or bad, and you still choose the bad one. That's like, it's way worse than if you just default to the bad one and you really didn't have the chance to, you didn't internally have the chance to go otherwise, right? So like it is like the spiritual and odds are like external repercussions will be more severe because you made a conscious choice to act effectively rather than your subconscious just reverting to that because it's always been that way, which is kind of fucking trippy. It's like if you make a bad decision like as a mistake, or like the whole like blind what's the whole Jesus line? They're like blind and can't see, whatever the fuck that is. I'm butchering it hard.
Yeah.
They know not what they do, kind of
yep.
thing. Jesus Christ, man. Sorry.
No, I just thought of the
sorry,
song.
Jesus.
I just thought of the song Notorious Thugs as you said. That's at the beginning of the song.
It's funny because I thought you were about to say that you were thinking of like Amazing Grace, because that's exactly what I was just saying. And then you said that's funny, man.
Yeah, it's
that's
in
funny.
the song, dude.
But like,
it's a great song.
So like, it's if you're not knowing really what you're doing, like you're gonna get like, if we're talking like karmic law, right? I don't know if that's an actual term, but that's what I say, like the law of karma. And you're gonna get back. What you're gonna get back is gonna be bad. But if you know what you're doing is wrong, and you have the capability to choose what's right, and you still choose to do what's like wrong and malicious and malevolent and all that shit anyway, that karmic law is going to come back way harder than if you were just doing it and never had the chance to make the choice in the first place with internal dialogue.
So with that point, man, like you ever hear the this seems to be like something that JP says a lot. You ever hear him say, I have been, he kind of says it like through this lens, so I'm adding a little more here, but he says like, I was in clinical practice for years, and he says, I have never seen anybody get away with anything. And I think that like specifically to your point is where it makes sense. Like I've never seen somebody intentionally do something that they're aware of and it just like goes okay and doesn't come back to bite them in the ass.
Right.
You know, like if I know full well that I go down that harmful road for me or others and I go anyway, time after time after time, karmic slap, dude.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You know,
so,
that's kind of I had not really thought about it that way though, man. Like, I don't know if I've ever looked at my personal, like, kind of self-examination in that way. Like, I should pay more attention to the things that I'm aware of. It might sound obvious, dude, but I've never thought that the things that I'm aware of that I do anyway are more costly. Never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I've kind of put them in the same category, like known or not known, they still like yield problems. But it really makes a lot of sense. Like, especially spiritually speaking, if I go down that road that I've been at this crossroad 100 times and I go anyway, it's no wonder why a week later I feel like my world's falling apart.
Yeah, and I have a lot of experience with that, and what I can point to is it's almost like I feel like it's almost like procrastinating getting better at it or fixing the problem or the defective like character, because I do intend to fix it. And it's almost like that like buys me some time and is almost like an already forgiven card or something. It's almost like a free pass, I guess. It's like, and I'm just talking about like how I feel. Like, it's like, well, yeah, I know this is wrong, and like I really want to be better at it, and then I just do it anyway. Like,
dude, it's
really weird.
It's funny, man. Like when you look at feedback, like it's just funny you say that because it's obvious now that you say it. But when I do something that pisses off Lauren, that I know pisses off Lauren, and I'm not talking about something like overt where I'm trying to piss her off.
Yeah.
But if I do something that we've talked about on several occasions, but I have chosen not to grow in that area time and time and time again, dude, she gets next level upset.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious now that we talk about it through this lens. It's like you being aware of it but not taking any steps does not buy you any points.
It's so weird, like, and I'm interjecting because I feel like I just like thought of a new way to say it. It's like imagine you have, it's like your consequences for those things that you're aware of that you do anyway are put through like a filter before they come back to you. But like the other ones are just like straight from the tap, right? Like your everyday like whatever, yeah, sure. But like the new ones are put through a filter that turn it up, like you just said. And they're different, and excuse me, this kombucha's killing me, dude. I burp so much when I drink this shit. They're put through a filter, like turned up in intensity, and they will also like progress. They just like take on a new mind of their own. It's just really weird, like having that little like twist of like I do something or don't, throwing the little twist of like being aware of it and doing it automatically like shifts everything like universally and sends your consequences back in like a completely different way that are more intense.
Yeah, like almost
crazy.
like you could look at it as like the universe is forcing you to make a decision. Mm-hmm. You know, like I know that can sound a little like cosmic or whatever, but it's like it's almost like awareness is a blessing and a curse. It almost like what we're talking about makes me think, no wonder so many people don't mess with this shit at all. Right?
Yeah.
Like I can relate to wanting to stay in the dark in areas of my life. Right. But it's crazy, dude. It's like, yeah, the more you come to that crossroad and go the wrong way knowingly, the worse it gets. You know, like I feel like JP almost uses the example of like that's the path to hell. You ever hear him like go that far?
Yeah.
Like he says it a lot. That's a road to hell right there.
Yeah.
And it really is, dude,
Yeah.
like spiritually speaking, because I'm going to experience such bad consequences. Mm-hmm. Man, I better up my game, dude. This just blew my mind. Like I thought that aware or not, actions in the wrong direction yield similar results.
Yeah.
But it makes sense now that they don't.
Yeah.
Knowingly going down the same road 100 times is going to hurt me and everybody else way more.
Yes. Yeah.
I really better up my game.
I'll tell you, bro. Oh my God. We're really selling it. I'll tell you what. If I heard this, dude, I'm getting sober tomorrow. Getting right to work on myself.
Well, especially because, like, I can say as somebody who's been, like, trying to do this for a while now, it's true. The consequences are way worse.
Yeah.
The fear, the shame, the guilt, the self-hatred, when I knowingly go the wrong way are way worse. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember giving me about 5 years ago a CD by a speaker from South Philly named Scott?
Yeah.
So the other day I was
I forgot I gave you that.
I was randomly in my car the other day and I clicked the CD button because I drive a 2010 that still has a CD player.
I have a CD player.
And he comes on, right? And dude, like this is exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, step 6 and 7. This
like
is what
he
about.
starts by saying, when you meet me, you meet character defects.
Yes.
That's how I do business.
Yeah.
You don't meet like a virtuous, I don't know how he says it, but like when you meet me, just know you are meeting defects.
Yes. Yes.
And he says like throughout the thing a couple times, if you poke an area of my life where I have not experienced enough healing, there's no telling what's gonna happen.
God, I miss that fucking guy.
And now I'll give you the CD back, dude. And
I might take it.
And now I'm thinking, well, if I know that I got to go this way, and I don't, I'm not gonna heal. Yeah, dude, that's fire.
He says, when you meet me, you don't meet me, you meet character defect. And then he says, whatever that character is going to be for the day. Dude, he's just, fuck, man. That's crazy. And I forgot all about that CD. I got that at the Liberty Bell Roundup, I think it was. I know CB was really involved in it, and so was Kim Package, my first sponsor. That was at I forget what it is now. It used to be the Ramada Inn in Essington, in my hometown. I think it's called the Clarion now.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
On 291 on the way to Harris Casino.
Mm-mm.
Nah, whatever. But yeah, that's so. When I say like Kim and Scott came in to do my big book study, like that is the Scott that came in to do my big book study when I was first getting sober.
Yeah, dude, I really like how, like, as that dude speaks, he chooses to put vulnerability in it. Like there's a lot of ways people can go about that, but there's a lot of vulnerability in his speak. Like, he speaks in a way that shows that he is not done or where he wants to be yet. No. And I tune into those speakers a lot. You know.
I never really thought about that. It's very much how I try to speak. I feel like speaking that way is important, just to like, I feel like if you don't speak that way, it's hard to stay that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, like I know what it's like to do both. I know what it's like to be around people who speak like they've done it and they get it now, and I just want to pass it to you. Mm-hmm. I've done that before. I also know what it's like when people have done it, have had an experience, but know they have a shitload more work to do and speak that way.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, when I'm talking about things that I know about, I don't try to make it a question as to whether or not I know what I'm talking about, because I have my own experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I don't know how much daylight we got left, but we should touch on all this like amends business.
All right. So what was your experience like? Give me a snapshot. Give us a snapshot.
This is like where it gets like really, really like sponsor specific from what I've heard.
Yep.
Like, I did my harms to others list in my fourth step, and like we got to 8, and she was like, "You already did it, surprise!" And I guess just kind of I think I reformatted it in like a different way for like a list. And of course, like, I had the opportunity to like, I mean, we always have the opportunity. Nobody has to fucking tell me that I have the opportunity to like add anybody else that I've thought since like writing my fourth step or whatever. We went through the list and like looked at like more serious ones that might need more attention, ones that should maybe wait, ones that I maybe couldn't make at all or shouldn't make, because there are some of those. And yeah, you kind of sift through them, put them in categories. And if you really want to, like, for the first few of these, I believe I did, is work on like how we're going to word whoever it is that you come into contact with or whoever you're trying to make the amends to. Because like, and it sounds really corny, but it's very true for me. Like, I couldn't say sorry anymore. I couldn't. They were what am I trying to say? They just didn't have any meaning anymore. It was way overused. Oversaturated everybody in my life with sorries. My sorries were everywhere. And so trying to use language to directly like make my wrongs right, using the language that I have since learned in going through the step process of like what part of me was exactly at play with whatever it was that I did to this person. And the whole thing kind of going like that. And then at the end, I was told to always make sure that I ask if there was anything that I left out. Excuse me. Because you'd be surprised what a lot of people, you'd be surprised what you forget, and you'd be more surprised at what other people remember. There were quite a couple things that I'll end up talking about where I got to that point where I said, like, is there anything that I left out? And there were some pretty big things that meant a lot to some people that I had just completely blocked out of my mind and forgot that I did. And then always wrap it up with like, if you ever need anything, someone to help you with something someone to talk to. If you ever need help in any way, if there's anything I can ever do action wise to like make it up to you, like I'm available for that. And yeah, that's like, there's intricacies that like we'll work through, but like that's general, like what my experience was.
Yeah, so dude, the setup part, pretty exactly the same, other than I was told to go through my resentment list just to make sure that like I didn't put anybody on resentment and not harm where there was harm. But yeah, like also sponsor specific. Like one of the things I was told when I actually started going out to people was I was told to like take a minute and think about like what they know. And the reason for that is because I was told, like, you're not going to go in there and drop new bombs on anybody.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not going to, like, go in there with like, the spirit of whatever, call it redemption or whatever, you know, like fixing it and drop new bombs that's going to harm people. It's completely not the idea of this step. But yeah, dude, like the way I went about it was pretty much exactly the same. Like I was sick. I caused a lot of harm to you. Is there anything I missed? Is there anything you want to say to me? You know, and it's crazy, man, because yeah, like I blocked out a lot of the shit, and my mind focused on where I thought my faults were.
Right.
But what's weird, what I found was a lot of what I put my stock in emotionally is not what bothered them.
Right.
It was like, yeah, you did that though. Yeah. And it's like you can clearly see that's where the harm was. You know, and I really think that like what's crazy about amends is it's not about in my experience, it's not about additional self-disclosure. It's about like honestly just trying to ask other people like, yo, how can I help you heal and hopefully like clean things up from what I've done?
It's about connection.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and so like with the experience of actually going out, I had this thing that happened where like the first 3 or 4 were pretty easy. I got some of like the, hey man, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, the ones
like,
closest to you.
Yep.
Yeah, they're always just like, we're just happy to see you do well.
Yep. But then I went to one who was a family member and just got smacked in the fucking face, dude. Like this person basically gave me a detailed account of every wrong I had done to everyone in my family, piece by piece. You did that to your uncle. You did that to your mom 3 years ago. Dude, like she had been taking is what it felt like. She had been taking my inventory for years. And dude, like it was hard, man. Like it was really difficult to like not be able to sway the truth of my behavior. There was no get out of jail free cards. There was no courtesies extended to me. It was, you were a sick little shit for years, and here's how you've hurt everyone around you. And like the coolest part about that though, man, I didn't try to argue in any way
Mm-hmm.
because I was told no matter what happens, you do not try to defend your position.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if this person is sicker than you. Doesn't matter. Do not defend your position. And this person's like coming at me, and like I want so badly to be like, listen, I hear that, but what about what you did?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, dude, you know, like just their defects are so clearly in my mind, because let's be honest, I've been taking their inventory for years.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? But like it was so spiritually like powerful to just say, like, keep looking at him and saying, I just really want to make it right, and I know that I hurt you, over and over and over again. And like when I got in my car and drove out of there, I felt like incredibly light. Because like I didn't let this noisy I'm right, you're wrong shit talk. It was just like, nah, dude, like we're sticking to the spirit of this, which is I want to make it right. I'm acknowledging my side, and that's it.
Right.
So yeah, it was like easy, and then smack right in the fucking face.
Yeah, man. Like the ones closest to you that you did the most to often like go the easiest. You know what I mean? Odds are they forgave you before you even said anything.
Yep. But then
Mom
you
and-
hit up an extended family member who's been watching from a distance, dude.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
only
fuck
ones
no.
that I had the only ones that I was able to make amends to as far as extended family members that I did cause probably direct harm to, that I felt I did, was like my my grandparents, and for robbing them of a chance of like actually getting to know their grandson and like having a relationship with their grandson. And which we'll probably end up circling back to that whole amends, but yeah, like those were easy. Odds are they've been watching you do better through action anyway, so they've worked themselves out through that, like what the amends would normally do has just happened to them naturally by like watching the journey. And like they don't need any more convincing or whatever, you know, they've been watching. And so I mean, I had a couple that were like that didn't really go well. Like, and I'm trying to think of like all the things that I was told. It's like like what you were talking about earlier was like disclosing anything new. Excuse me. I'm not there to experience more freedom at somebody else's expense. Like just sacrificing like how they feel in the moment so I can feel lighter by getting a burden off of my shoulders and just slapping it on them and then walking out of there and saying like, this is yours now, and then just like leaving.
Yeah, but I feel better, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the time, like you just saying more bad shit that they may or may not know is usually just a low key, like an attention thing anyway. And like, ego, like being born out of like negativity.
Yeah, real quick, dude. You know how I learned that the most, despite being told it, when I was going into the amends process? When I first got sober, I had this thing I was doing for attention, probably, where like my family's now talking to me, and we're like shooting the shit and eating dinner, and like you know, it's like starting to go back to like it was like years ago. And I don't know what it was, man, but we'd get to talking about addiction, and I would just like go too far and be telling them grimy shit. And they'd just be like, I really didn't want to know that.
Yeah.
And like I kind of
feel
learned,
like a lot of us are guilty of that, man.
yeah, it's like it feels so good to finally be opening it up that I'm taking it to the ends of the earth.
I feel like I can get like that sometimes when I'm talking to people that just aren't drug addicts. And it's almost like I like the attention of their inquisitive mind into the subject, based out of like how much of a shitty person I was, and I just get a lot of attention from it. But usually I just feel like a fucking tool bag after I say it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I temporarily like that I get to be walking taboo in the eyes of that person.
Yeah, and you fast forward like 7 seconds, and it's
And
like,
you're
oh,
like,
Jesus Christ,
dude, like that was pretty grimy, and
Yeah.
like,
I should just kill myself.
what shit were they supposed to feel better by that?
So like, I had this one amends that didn't go over well. It was a girl that I dated right before I got sober, and really bad relationship. She probably could have used AA herself, maybe still can. I don't know. We don't really talk. Like, I don't think I've talked to her since before I met Madeline, when I was still living at Passyunk. I was using and drinking. She knew I was drinking. Didn't really know I was using. She was drinking a lot, cheating on me all the time. I was cheating on her because she was cheating on me, and like trying like really both like so psychologically unhealthy. And like real like emotional hostage kind of tactics, like clear like insecurities, fear of being alone, just scattered everywhere. It was a fucking shit show. It was. And when I went to go make amends to her, she said like, you're like the biggest piece of shit ever. And it's like, I worked all the way up to this point being a good boy, right? And like not expecting everything to go my way, but just like in that moment when you hear that, it's just like very demeaning to me. It was. And then like, so I was told, just like real quick, I was told like, do it in person whenever you can. Like, try your hardest to do it in person. And like, if you have to settle for like a text message or a phone call or whatever, text message is like the last resort. Like, typing to somebody was the very last fucking resort. But a lot of people, especially women, that's the only way they would talk to me. They didn't trust to even hear my voice because I was a very good talker, and they were just not wanting to see me in person. And so we were texting, and she said like, I'm a piece of shit, and then started to say all these other things. And I was working at RCI. I remember being at work while I was making the amends. Like in the middle of cleaning rooms, I think. And I was texting my sponsor like after she said that, and she was like, well, is she wrong? I'm like, well, no, not really. And the way that I had to view negative reactions to my amends were like, they are referring to the version of you that they remember. Like, it doesn't matter if you're not that way anymore. That's how they remember you. And fuck it if you look different now. You've been untrustworthy everywhere. So like, why the fuck should they trust you just because you look different? And like, they have their right to be pissed off at you, and you also fucking deserve it for what you did. And I was like, okay. And so I said, you're right. And I just wanted to say all that to you and just own up to my part and like what I did. If you ever need anything, like, I'll always be here for whatever you may need. Or we could just never talk again, whatever you want. And then she blocked me on social media again. I had to go through like 3 different people to get in touch with her, because people from back then in my life, quite a few of them have me blocked like by every form of communication, even still to this day. And I just had to sit with it. And sitting with it was like hard at first. But like, the bad feeling didn't last nearly as long as I thought it was going to. Like, I ended up being okay with it. I ended up being okay with it because of how I reacted to it. And I didn't have any, like, I could have had another harm done right there and how I would have reacted, you know? And the crazy part is like 3 months later, she reached out to me on her own and apologized for how she reacted to me in the amends process. And then we ended up meeting up, and talking about it further. I don't really remember what happened after that. I think we just fell out of touch. She's not somebody I would rather associate with anymore. But yeah, I've had really good ones, really bad ones. But the important thing is like all of my vernacular needs to look the same no matter which one it is, and I need to handle them all the same way.
Yeah, dude, I'm kind of a believer that like those bad ones, you know, I don't know if I'd say this to like everybody, but for me, I need to see what like Captain Character Defect can produce. You know, like I know sometimes depending on like the mindset of like recovery and change you get into, it can be like very positive leaning, like
Right.
don't talk about yourself like that, and you know all that like very positive self-love, self-acceptance type stuff. But I really think that example of what me at max character defects and drugs and alcohol does to other people was very important for me, like continuing to move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And I know not everybody really sees it that way, but like me acting on defects and total self-centeredness created all that pain.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way. Like, almost like using it to fuel like foresight into like future actions.
Yeah, like exactly. Like
Yeah.
like why am I putting so much work into trying to go the other way? Because this is what it can look like if I don't. Like I wore this person down day by day by day, just lying and trying to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and like my sponsor always reminded me, you're still capable of being that guy. Like don't think that you're like now absolved or clear of ever going back to being that guy.
It's funny that you say that, just because like there were quite a couple times when I used the making amends thing towards a woman that I used to just like manipulate and like have sex with all the time, and like and in the amends, like going into it very genuine, and then somehow turning the conversation into doing that again and doing the same thing right after making an amends for it. Like I've done that a handful of times, and it was really fucking hard for me to like deal with that once I woke up and like shook that like inner monkey out of me, that like desire and like that other sickness, right? And like woke up to like, holy shit, like I just did the same exact thing that I was apologizing for right after apologizing for it and trying to make it better. Like again.
Yep.
I've had to like there's some females out there where I had to make amends to them like 3 times and then just not talk to them or be in their life at all, because that's just what has to happen. That's just it.
Yeah, dude, it's like you said, man, going down the same road the same way, that despite knowing, and like I don't know, dude, I think people like need to I know I started with me, but now I'll say it more broad. I think people need to see that. You know, because
yeah, I don't see enough, and that's not why I'm saying it, but I agree. I think people need to see way more that like, and people will say like, oh, people in AA are just like, people in AA are fucking scumbags. Like I've heard that plenty of times. And it's like, yeah. And if you weren't seeing them, does that mean everybody else isn't, you know? Like,
yeah.
I believe we're human beings first, and some of us have just better discipline in a lot of areas than others. I'm a man of getting out of myself, and like sex was 1000% a way for me to do that. So like, especially early in sobriety, cliche, early sobriety, little fucking hornball, like pogoing around on your fucking dick, just waiting to land inside of a chick. You know what I mean? And that's what I was doing. And like, I would go back in my amends and like use women that I knew that I could. And I hated it. When it was over, I hated it. And I hate looking back on it now. I would hate if I did it again. But like, these are like the very real shortcomings that human fucking beings have. And I don't know. I attribute a lot of that to social media personally, because nobody's ever posting that shit. But yeah, that's my rant.
Yeah, dude, it's great to know what you're capable of, dude. Like it's hard to make lasting, like, gradual change if you're not aware of what you're capable of.
You can't sell yourself short on what you need to change.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to see like kind of that monster that like really hurt a person in order to go in the other direction. Like if I just jump into change and all of a sudden my reality goes from like a broken dude to like a self-happy, self-love, I'm okay, I'm sorry, that was the old me type shit.
Yeah.
I may not have like the positive and negative emotion I need to keep going forward.
Right.
Like I gotta know. I think, you know, I know like a lot of us hear this. You hear people say in the rooms like, "I'm glad I'm an alcoholic," and that's so controversial. Some people are like, "Fuck you," and some people are like, "I totally get that."
Yeah.
You know, but I do think that is one area where like we and others are lucky.
Yeah,
because
it could be worded more specifically than just using the word alcoholic, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I know that I'm capable of going down that path, and that it's the little behaviors that I am not willing to correct that take me down that path. It gives me much more, I hate to say motivation because it's not motivation, but willingness to keep going down this path.
Right.
You know, and like I kind of think it's a healthy fear, dude.
Yeah. And when I hear like I'm glad to be an alcoholic, nobody is saying that while they're drinking, right? So like that already tells you like you don't really mean like you're happy to be an alcoholic. Like because I used to say it, I don't anymore, but like when I would say it, what I meant was I'm happy. It's almost like I'm just happy to like be in this 12-step program and like see the changes that it's given me in my life. That's like really what I mean. Like, because other people don't get that, alcoholics get that, and then you say like I'm happy to be an alcoholic because you get to do this. Not happy when you're out there like I don't know, like stepping over your kids in the morning because you need to go to fucking I don't know, some random fucking corner bar at like 6:00 a.m. Like you're not happy about it then. Not happy to be an alcoholic. You're just happy to have this like crazy program that can help you live better.
Yeah,
But,
dude.
Yeah.
That's exactly
what I mean by it.
That's exactly what I meant by it, because I've said it too.
Yeah.
Right. And it's exactly like that. It's like I'm just happy that I've gotten to see these two different sides of life.
Yeah.
Like it sucks that I had to go there. I don't know why I had to go there. You know, there's a lot of rabbit holes that people go down with that. Born an addict. I'm not saying they're wrong, but just
I've never thought the why mattered.
Exactly.
Just whether or not it did.
Yeah, and now I get to see like this life where little by little I'm choosing to take that uncomfortable road. You know, and part of it is because I want, you know, like Marty in our group says, I want to be eligible for a happy life. And part of it is because I'm scared to death of who I can be again.
This is true.
And part of what helped me be scared to death is I got to see with sober eyes how much I hurt people, and how everything that steps 6 and 7 started to show me created that. With some drugs and alcohol mixed in there.
What an eloquent mention of the drugs and alcohol.
They just fuel the madness, dude.
So like aside from like verbal amends, there's like actionable amends, right? Financial amends, actionable or like living amends, right? Like a good example is I was just talking to a friend of mine who had lost his sister a while back, and has been like taking care of her nephew, or his nephew, her son, since she passed. And I was talking to him about, like, he was kind of opening up to me about his whole situation with that, how much he kind of struggles with feeling like he could have done more like before she OD'd and passed. And I said, well, like you're doing a lot now. Like you took her son in. Like that's very much in my opinion. In my opinion, he didn't have anything to be sorry about. And like I told him that. But if he is convinced that he has something to be sorry about, what he's doing now makes up for it. Like that's how I try to frame it to him. Just so he could experience some kind of peace if he can't shake that, you know? And he was very receptive. Just like that's kind of what a living amends is like just living right and doing well by sometimes specific people, but sometimes it's just in general is like a way to make a living amends to people that you can't make an amends to. Like some people write letters to people that are dead. I was able to so this was during COVID, and some of my family members, like I'm sure all of us have family members, were very, very controlling and afraid during the whole COVID thing. Because like that's when like political tensions spike.
Isolation kicks in.
Ego is at an all-time fucking high with everybody, and like the division in everybody that just appeared so suddenly, whatever. So my grandfather was in hospice with another family member of mine, and they were like, you got to wear a mask. You can be in there like 5 minutes at a time, no more than like 2 people at a time. My thing is like, he's about to die. What the fuck is all this shit, right? That's completely besides the point of the story, but I just had to get that out there. It was, I think, like a very selfish thing to do. When a family member is about to die, you can put rules on like how other people choose to spend time with him in a loving way in the last waking moments of his life. I think it's very fucking selfish. And I got to like kneel at his bedside, and like he couldn't really move his mouth or anything or talk, but like he could understand me. And never had a deep conversation with the dude a day in my fucking life. Like most of the time I know from him is when I was like a baby, and he would like watch me when my parents would just like need time away from me probably and just drop me off there. And I would cry my fucking eyes out because I just didn't want to be away from my parents. And, or my mom at least. My dad and I weren't on best terms when I was a real little kid. But I apologized to him for robbing him of like a relationship with me, and that we never got to be really close. Everybody else in there, he hadn't really like cried that much from what I saw. And this was like just something I kind of thought of, trying to be like unselfish in my thoughts of how I might affect other people. Like it was almost a guess that he had actually thought about it that way. But as soon as I said that, he just burst into fucking tears. And then I start crying. My mom starts crying. Turns out everybody was like outside of the fucking room with their ear up to the door listening to what I was saying. Or maybe I just had to speak loud because he couldn't really hear. And like I got to do that like right before he fucking died. And it's just so important to do this shit. Like, not only for you getting, like, this is an opportunity for other people to get free from you. Like, that's the way that I viewed it. It's like, I think forgiveness is a gift, and I think forgiveness is earned. I don't know. I guess I have more deeper philosophical views on that, but like, you're doing this to like ease the pain for other people, and doing that eases your pain as well. Like if I get forgiven at the end of it, like that's completely fucking irrelevant. It's like whether or not I make the effort, which is another really good point. as long as the effort's there, like that's fine. People don't need to get it. People don't need to accept it. I have the mom of another past like emotional victim of mine that I try to contact because her daughter still has me blocked. Like every couple of years I'll like reach out and she just fucking ghosts me. Like 3 times now over 8 years. She just hasn't answered me. It's like, that's fine. I'm not sick over it. Like I'm here and ready to make amends whenever. I went on a long rant and now I don't know where I'm going to wrap up my thought. So I'm just going to stop talking now. Oh shit.
Yeah, dude, it's just such an incredible story, man. It's like you had me thinking like, you know, kind of my last encounter with my grandpa when he was in hospice, and you know, thank God I had gotten to make amends like sooner. But
Good.
But dude, like I just what you said at the end there, man, like I know this might sound a little bit religious to some, but
Bring it on, dog.
I don't mean it that way.
it on.
This might sound a little evangelical, but I don't mean it that way.
Shit.
But like it's almost like you're showing other people a God at work in your life. You know, and whatever that belief or that God is fine, dude. But it's amazing, man, because it's like apparently it's sort of like came in and worked out our issues and is at work, like is helping us accomplish what we couldn't accomplish on our own. And it has this amazing effect, dude, where like it has this incredible impact in certain cases on other people's lives too. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to like go too far. It's like it restores their hope. Their faith is back, not necessarily in God, but just in like humanity or something.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just wild how an authentic and like well intended amends extends like outward 100 times over, dude.
I think a lot of people by default think that people don't change. And like in some, I already talked about the times that I fell short as I was apologizing for falling short, right? And like sometimes I prove people right by saying that, by like acting the way that I can or acting the way that I did. And but I think that's why sometimes like so many people are like kind of taken back. A lot of my amends responses were like kind of awkward. Like they weren't all like fuck whether or not they were like positive or negative. Some of them were just straight up like uncomfortable conversations because like people didn't really, I feel like people don't really know how to react to it's not like altruistic, but like accountability, but it is like accountability without like a motive. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Without an ill motive or like a secret one, at least. Just like a genuine thing.
Yeah, I think accountability is a great way to look at it, man. Like I agree. I don't think a lot of people, I think fewer people than I realized prior to this like journey had ever experienced someone like humble themselves and say like it was my fault. I was wrong and like I need to do better and grow. Like the healing power of that message, like in my family, I don't get the sense that anybody did it. All the wounds that went through my family, all the traumas and the anger and just like the fierce like pain, I don't think any of them really got to hear that from anybody. You know, like a generation above, you know, there was a little bit more of that like prideful, stoic, like I am who I am, and if you don't like it, fuck off kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, I just, dude, it has this like incredible healing power, and it's like it's not what I'm saying, it's the spirit that I'm bringing to you.
Yeah.
Nobody really gives a shit like how I put my words together when I do this, which is why I think it's so important to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like the spirit of like I know that I hurt you, and if there's really anything I can do to make that right, I will. And then when they see you like follow through on that, dude, like
Yeah, it's weird.
it's just so powerful, man. But yeah, I something you said struck a chord with me. The amends process for me, this is just like 100% how I looked at other people. I had lost a lot of faith in humanity before like going through all this and getting sober, because People just thought I was a fucking joke, dude. And I was.
Yep.
I was a guy that was walking around town, falling asleep on my feet, couldn't look anybody in the eye, couldn't hold a job, couldn't do anything but just harm everyone around me. And like people looked at me that way because that's what I was.
Nerve, dude, I swear.
Because that's what I was. You know, and like just some of the feedback I got during the amends process, like people's willingness to just like give me a chance and kind of hope again, that was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like very, very healing for me to see that like a dude who clearly hates what he's done, but is trying to do this, like some people will genuinely meet you there.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Most of it was like very beautiful and freeing, for sure.
With some smacks that are very necessary.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but yeah, man, like just I gotta always remember, like I'm you know, to kind of bring 6 through 9 all together. Like I'm capable of both, dude.
Yep.
And the path either way is those tiny little idiosyncrasies. You know, those tiny little steps that take me the blocked off sickie or like the guy who's headed somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And now from talking to you, I know that if I knowingly go the wrong way, I'm going to pay for it tenfold.
That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. I don't want to keep you too long. You've been out like all day. You got anything else you want to add?
I don't think so, man. I've just really been enjoying like piecing them all together, dude.
What,
you know?
like all the steps and stuff?
Like yeah, like not and not like super mechanical, dude. Just like kind of talking about our experiences and how we kind of like conceptualize the process and what we both learned. Like I just hope it's really helping other people who have done it or like haven't done it to just see it in a different way for them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We've kept like the second parts of like both of our stories like at bay for a bit now. We're gonna have to whip them out soon.
I'm game, dude.
That probably means we'll need to go back and like listen to our own like respectively to remember like where we left off.
Yeah, just to get a sense of
Which
where
might
to
be
pick up.
like kind of, I don't know. Sounds kind of weird to me. Go back and listen to myself talk.
I hate listening to myself.
Yeah, I might actually not do it.
You listen to me talk, give me footnotes, I'll do the same for you.
Okay.
Nah.
I don't have anything.
Or remember,
Or
if you tell your story again, it'll be completely different because that's how it always works.
oh yeah, I just meant to pick up where you left off.
I know, but dude, it's funny how every time you tell your story, this is anybody, it's always different.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
I
it
have
al- it
things
always-
that I make sure I say every time.
Me
But yeah,
too. But like my view of my life changes constantly.
for sure.
It's fucking beautiful,
You
dude.
get deeper understandings as you get older.
Yeah, and like more of like kind of a cynicism toward parts of yourself that's just funny.
Yeah, that's very relatable. Cool.
Nah, I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, dude. So I do have to tease it here. I didn't at the top, which I probably should have, because I don't know how many people listen all the way to this point. So I can't give too many details, but I have been asked to be a part of another podcast startup, which we just filmed. It was supposed to be a promo, but it kind of turned into like our first episode, I guess. We just filmed that in the city yesterday. So that should be coming out. I don't know when. I've literally just been asked to like show up and talk. So I don't know anything else about whatever else is going on. I haven't even met like most of the people that are involved in like making it happen or whatever. So there's that. No more football. No more football season. Big sad. So go Phils.
Go Phils, man. It's gonna take me a little while to like care about the Phils. Like at the
spring training is like 50 million fucking games, dude. Like
it is, and every year I'm very slow with jumping back on the Phillies train. You know, like I don't like some people are like it's opening day, let's go, and like
some people do that and then complain about them. What was the record last year? Like early in the season when people started freaking out, it was like.
We were horrible, dude.
Yeah, but like it was like 8 games into the season, bro.
Yeah.
There's 162 baseball games. Like you can't. It doesn't matter if you're like if you're like 4-6, bro. Like you have a whole nother like million fucking games to play. Like it's just really
dude.
Fucking relaxed.
Who thought of that shit, man? It's insane.
That's it's way too many games.
It's like let me out of the minors. I want to play 162.
It's way
games.
too many games, man.
It's insane. I don't even know how they like I don't even know how they. Remember the comment that our coach, the former Yankees coach, made that like everyone turned on him for, like what was the dude's name again? He was in there before dude now. Who was our last coach? Coached the Yankees when they beat us.
Oh, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, so he made this comment that is so true on what we're saying. It's a long season. I don't know.
Like,
and people were just like, you're not addressing the problems and you're not serious, and like they wanted his head. Right, but it's 100.
Everybody was saying the sky was falling like 2 weeks into the season last year. And I'm just like, bro, like relax.
Don't we always start a little slow though?
Yeah.
Especially in interleague play. We suck with interleague play.
I think like I've heard like a Philly sports guy who I listen to a lot talk about this, and I think like because football is so big here, we accidentally view all sports through the lens of the football schedule. And it's like like the Phillies, it's like, boys, it's week 3. Like pick it the fuck up. Yeah. It's like, yeah, bro, but all of our weeks have 4 fucking games in them, and we have 75 left. Like, fucking relax. Yeah. Oh no, it's week 3. Like, God forbid the Birds went 2-2. You know what I mean? But I was fucking heated early in the Bird season.
Yeah.
But then Baldiani came in and saved the day.
Dude, it's so funny how you say that, man. It's like sometimes you put together like how fucking often they're playing.
Yeah.
Like Lauren will be like, what week do the Phillies have off this week? And I'm like, none of them. They're playing all 7 days. It's fucking insane. They got a 4-day right into it. They got a 4-game series right into a 3-game series.
It's so nuts, man. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, go Phils. The Union home opener is this Saturday, I think. I don't know if I'm going to be there though.
Let's try to get to a game though, man.
We will.
Okay.
We will. I think it's this Saturday. The Union home opener is coming up. I would love to take you, dude. They're really fun. And there's a really good Italian sausage stand in there that not a lot of people go to. But I go to because I think it's the best food there. Only thing is they don't have cheese. That's the only thing. So, yeah. That's all that. And God bless you. We love you.
We love you.
And
Stay
were you
tuned.
gonna?
And stay tuned.
Were you gonna? I'm not saying it.